my fellow comic book collectors. This is actually part 2. This is this is Alan, the comic collector geek, and there's actually a funny thing that happened when I first tried to do this interview with my good friend. Probably less of a good friend based on the fact that I messed up the first time, but Hialeah. I always mess up his name. But what happened was I scheduled these interviews that I do with my guests. And when I schedule it, it's supposed to go to my private section within my videos. But instead, I actually clicked go live. So instead of it being like a recording, it was actually a live thing. And so people are like, people are joining in, and it's very interesting. So this is take 2, where it's not live, it's recorded, but we're going to have a really great conversation. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring my guest on, and we're going to talk comics.
Hey. Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. How are you?
Hey. So that was, it was very funny. So that was just so messed up.
You were doing such a good job too, man. It was a great intro. Like 4, you said 4 people got to see, 4 or 5, including myself. So
yeah. So, and then to make things worse, my wife is calling at the same time, and every time I get a call on my cell phone, it cuts the feed. It cuts, so I can't actually talk on the thing. So I'm like trying to knock her off, cancel her call, but then I'm canceling the feed. It was just totally messed up. It was like everything that could go wrong was going wrong. So
it was live. It was
live. That's the best time. If you're gonna mess up in front of the world.
Mess up big. Mess up big.
So yeah. So how will you tell people a little bit about yourself? How did you get into comics, and what's your comic journey?
Okay, first of all, I want to say you're doing great in the pronunciation.
Oh, really? Did I say it right?
You don't have to be embarrassed anymore. I think you're pretty much 99% out. Hialeah.
I'm saying Hialeah.
You got it, man. You got it. Okay, that's 90. You got it. And thank you for inviting me to this. It's been way too long. I'm sorry. I just kept putting it off, man. But this week,
we were planning this for months. This is months in the making. So this is months in the making to just fall apart. But yeah.
But how did I start, man? I started back in 1974, 75, 76.
Oh, so before you were even born. That's amazing.
Before I was even born. I'm going to show you some books. That's a different story, but I got a story for that. And my dad used to just take me to 7-Elevens.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get the Slurpee cups. Remember the Marvel Slurpee cups?
Yeah.
Get those, and I would get a comic book, and I just fell in love. Reading I would read those cups over and over again, and then the comic books. I had maybe 6, and I would just read them over. Didn't understand what was going on, mm-hmm. But I loved the art. It was like, oh my God, this is so amazing, and I just fell in love with it from there. And then in elementary, found a group of friends, a neighbor of mine, and we just went, head first into comics, and we just fell in love with it, with the medium. So,
I actually have a price guide back from 1974. You could have bought a Superman 1 for under $1,000. It was $500 or something like that. Or not Superman 1, Action 1. Action 1.
It's crazy, right? When you think about it. We used to have, remember the Mile High inserts?
Yeah,
that used to be our price guys, and we would open it up, and see how oh my God, look, this one I have is $50 in mint. And then every book we had, of course, was mint. For us, this is near mint. Near mint was the thing. It wasn't mint. It was near.
There was only 3 grades. There was only 3 grades: near mint or whatever it said, and then mid grade, and then poor. That was it.
Yeah. That was it, man. That was our Bible. Was that Mile High ad insert from the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, I remember that. But actually, when I first got into buying comics through the mail, because I was limited, you can only buy what's in your own market at the time. Right. I was buying from Mile High. I bought so much stuff from Mile High.
Really?
But I realized
using that insert?
Not using the insert. They had Well, I used the insert at the beginning, right?
Okay.
Like because that was like what you had, but then I got their phone number, started calling them, and and then it was
Wow.
yeah.
Did
But
you
they
have,
were always expensive. They were always rip off in terms of pricing,
and they still are.
and they still are. That's true. That's true.
I went there maybe 3 years ago. Well, right before the COVID. So like 2019.
Hmm.
It's massive. It's massive store,
Oh
and
yeah,
the
I'd
prices
love to
are
go there. Yeah,
insane. That's like the Mecca, huh? Going to Mile High,
yeah,
right? It
yeah,
was
yeah,
like it was a big deal when I went. I was there a couple of hours.
yeah.
Didn't buy anything.
I watched videos where they show their store.
Yeah,
It is insane. It is like pretty impressive. Like
it's massive. It's in a warehouse district. It's a massive warehouse, and
mhm.
the store part is only maybe like 2/3 of it. They have like another third that you can't walk back there, and it's just
Mhm. It's just
box.
inventory.
It's
Yeah.
an inventory. The place is huge, massive, massive,
Mm.
in the
Did you
middle
get
of nowhere.
did you get to meet the owner? I forget his name.
No,
No.
no, I didn't. I don't remember his name either, but no, I did not.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting guy. Yeah,
Yes,
just it's very it's a very very cool. I mean, he's the one that really kind of put comics onto the market. Like that idea of buying these collections, buying like a massive collection. Like he bought that Mile High collection. It's like, so yeah,
the rest is history, and the rest is history.
yeah, yeah. So you started with Slurpee cups and
The interact.
and and spinner racks.
Give me a second. Give me a second.
Oh, you actually have one of the original
I have
Slurpee cups.
I have like three. So
Oh, nice.
I
And
definitely.
that's like, and that's from the '70s kind of era.
Yeah, this was in my original. I drank out of these. I destroyed these because when you use them over and over, they
They
become brittle.
fade. They fade,
They
right?
fade,
Yeah.
and the plastic becomes brittle.
Oh,
So
really?
I picked these up later on, and this is like one. You'll see this guy again today in some books I'm showing.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
but yeah, I had to get that when I saw it.
That's the
And
real Captain Marvel.
that's the real Captain Marvel. Yes.
So that's funny. Um, so yeah, so okay, so when did you start saying I'm a collector now? Like when did you have sort of that mindset?
Probably, I would probably say like 81. So I was like
Okay,
12.
same as me then. Same as me.
Huh?
Same as me. Like
Yeah.
that's when I bought my Howard the Duck #1. That's when I.
Yeah, that's when I found out we had a comic book shop in our town, in our city,
Mhm.
and my dad would take, when I had braces, and my dad would take me, my brother, and my friend that we were into comics once a month, and it was about an hour drive because it was down south. The roads weren't like they are now,
Mhm.
and he would give us $20 to me and my
Oh
brother.
wow,
And
that's huge money, by the way.
we would come home with a stack of books that they were 25, 50 cents. They were like that.
Yeah.
I, um, I remember one time my brother comes up to my dad, and he wanted to buy a $5 book,
Oh
and
wow.
that book was Thor 126 with the with the hammer,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know that one.
right when it turned.
That's
And
when that's when it gets the Thor title. Yeah.
correct. And
Yeah.
my dad was like, $5, $5,
That's a lot of
and
money.
yeah, and then my brother's 4 years younger, so he looked at me, and he said, "What do you think?" And I go, yeah, that's good. And he bought it for him, and I doubt he still has it, but I don't know if he's into comics anymore. But anyway, that was pretty awesome going there once a month. So 1981, and then I collected all the way to about 92,
Okay.
and then I
And life
stopped.
then life sort of hit you, and like you have to, yeah.
Life started hitting, and I would carry box. I had like three long boxes and one short box with all my keys, and that
Mhm.
traveled with me for quite a bit till 2016. I got in a little bit. I started collecting statues instead of comics. And in
Mhm.
2016, I got back into it. I
That's
got
sort
back
of
into
similar
it.
to me. Similar to me.
Yeah.
So yeah. Did you find that Did you keep a lot of your original collection, or did you sell it off at any point? Or
Pretty much all of it, except I've sold a little bit of it. I started selling about three years ago, I would think,
okay,
and I've sold a little bit, the lesser stuff that I don't want, but most of it I still have. Most
okay,
of it,
that's good.
yeah.
So, what kind of books were you collecting, and can you show some of them? Like, just
Yes. I'm a bronze guy. I love Marvel. I got a little bit of DC. I'm probably looking to get more DC now because I'm pretty much marveled out with what I can get. I got pretty much everything as far as Bronze Age keys. There's a few here and there, but if I don't have them, it's because I'm not. It's because I'm not interested in them. So I don't have to complete every key from Marvel, but the ones that I like, I have. I'm going now more Silver Age. So I've been doing more Silver Age, and now I'm going to try to get some more DC. Okay. When I got back into it in 2016, I wanted to get those books that I had when I was going to the spinner rack with my dad.
Okay.
I didn't have any of those books. So I got a couple of those books because these are the books that open up my imagination.
This is like Bronze Age kind of level.
These are all Bronze Age. These are my originals. I got these after I got back, but I had all these these were the main ones that I could remember that I had when I was a kid.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to make you big so that you can.
Sure. So the first one is This Inhumans. They're not all keys, but I love this cover. I fell in love with Black Bolt.
Yeah, I think Black Bolt's cool. I mean, and I love Medusa. I love Medusa.
Such a great design. But I had this book, and I destroyed it reading it and just looking at the pictures and tracing. I would put the tracing paper. And
I know a lot of kids that did that. Yeah.
Oh my God, it was so much fun, man! And just drawing it with my friends. So I got like 5 of those. Oh, a little bit more. This book, I had it as a kid. It totally freaked me out. I was like, I don't know what the hell this is, but it's the Mind Worm, the Spider-Man head.
That's a wild cover.
It's a crazy villain too, man. He just controls people's heads.
So it's almost like a mob of people attacking Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Because of the Mind Worm.
The Mind Worm. Wow.
Yeah. This one, Moon Knight. I've had this one. This one I got when I was like 10. It's a little beat up. It's been read a few times, but it still presents nice. And one DC book that I remember as a kid was this one.
Oh, okay.
Terra Man. And this book, I love the art inside. It just fascinated me with the horse and everything. And he's like a cowboy, and he was beating up Superman, and I just thought it was super cool.
Wow.
And then I got some slabs that I got from. I love this cover. I got this one off of, not this one, but one just like it. And this book I did read a ton of times, and it's got a great little backstory in it. If nobody's
I've
ever
never
read.
seen these ones. Like so far, you've shown me books that I haven't seen before. So these are great.
I'm so very surprised, Alan.
I know. Like, I mean, I know the Jungle Action series, but I didn't know this cover.
It's a gorgeous cover, man.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, he's inside a dinosaur.
A dinosaur. The story's actually very good. This is another Black Panther book. I had this one too. Him against the King. I had that as a kid. I had some pretty cool books as a kid, man. I don't know. I don't want to. I fixed out some good books when I was a kid.
That's actually a book that I'm looking for right now.
This one?
That's on my want list. Strangely enough, I missed, like, I lost, like, for some reason 3 times recently on that. Like, I was bidding on the auctions, and every time I lost. I don't know why. So I keep on losing out on that book.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a great book. It's considered his 3rd. It used to be his 2nd. Now it's considered.
I thought it was his 2nd appearance, but okay. But it's the first Tarantula too, though, right?
No, Tarantula is the one before, I believe, and Punisher shows up like on 134, like on the last panel. So everybody consider that his 2nd now.
Oh, okay.
It used to be, but who cares, man? Who cares? Well, this is another one. You can tell they were all around the same time zone. All these books.
Yeah.
And these are from like 74, just like I said. So I was like 5 years old.
Did you get these sent off to get graded, or were these like ones you bought graded?
This one I did. The other, the one with the dinosaur I sent to get graded. The other 2 I bought graded, and this one I sent to get graded. So,
Nice.
but they're all in that same 1974, 1975. So I told you, you're gonna see this one again. This is probably my all-time favorite cover. You
Yeah,
could
it's just
tell
like the cup.
it's just like the cup.
Yeah.
So I had to get that.
So
I
that
also
is totally a cover swipe or like a cup swipe or swipe for the cup on from the cover. Yeah.
homage. I also have a poster up there of it, signed by Starling. Yeah, I love this cover. Um, and
Yeah,
this is
I'm
one of the books that freaked me out. That I just fell in love with this book when I had it as a kid.
I always wondered why they gender swapped him.
Um, I don't know, man. He was just such a great freaking. And when Starling did him, it was just amazing, man. He was so good.
Yeah, I like Sterling a lot. I mean, just his storytelling is pretty awesome.
Yes, it is. His art is, you could tell right away. It's not the greatest art. It's not the worst art. It's a distinctive art. He always has the big torsos. His
Mhm.
torsos are always like exaggerated, but it works for me, and I freaking love his art.
He's
Um,
very into the cosmic element.
totally,
I find. Yeah.
totally. I just finished. I actually just completed his Captain Marvel run. I think it's from like is it 25 to 34 on Captain Marvel. I just got that recently. So
Did
I
you
want
ever
to
read Star Reach?
no.
I think it's Star Reacher or Star Reach. It's by Starling. So
No, never heard of that.
it's a very cool little series. It's just like a little
No,
series. Yeah,
never heard of
that's
that.
yeah, that's my experience with him.
Well, I have another book to show about that's with him. All right, this book, this is the original one. I got this. I five fingered. I got a five finger
Didn't get a
discount.
discount.
I got a five-finger discount from our public library in Hialeah.
Uh-oh.
John F. Kennedy. I must have been like 10. I might have been younger, man.
Uh-oh. So
But I
should
got
we be calling the police at this point or
no. But this is it. I this somehow snuck into my book bag or something when I was a kid, and it came back a 6. It's not even pressed, but it's just this book means so much to me. It's a great looking book, and I got a key from the public library. So
that is funny.
way back when, and
I can imagine if you put like, like some of the books at the public library, like they don't really know what they are. And I've seen major keys at the public library and people check them out and never return them.
never. I don't remember. I think they just had them on a table in in the library, and it just happened to come home with me, and it turned out to be a key. It's the first Deathlock, and it's the first George Perez art. So
Yeah. It's a
I
major
think
book.
I got the right one of whatever they
Yeah.
have.
Yeah,
But
actually, it was funny. My public library, they they had like a sale, like where they have all the inventory where they just sell the comics, and nobody ever read the comics because nobody ever goes to the library anymore. So
wow.
they had all these like really high grade comics, and they were literally giving them away, and they were like first appearances of like modern characters, like modern first
Right.
appearance of what's her name, the new one of the new Green Lanterns.
Oh my God, what's her name?
You know what I'm talking about, the Hispanic Green Lantern. Do you know what I'm
Yeah,
talking about?
yeah, it's DC. I don't remember. I know who you're talking
My
about.
yeah. So they gave that away for free, like things like that, like like a $50 book, and like they just
I don't
yeah
think that library has any. I don't know because, like you said, people don't go to the library anymore. So
yeah. So it was funny that was their way of trying to bring people in by giving away comics. It was funny.
man, that's not that. I call that a bargain.
Yeah.
I
So
call it.
any other books you want to show?
I got 2 more books, and then I got another set of books to show later. These
Okay.
2 I've actually had probably since the 70s. These are my original copy. This one got beat to hell. It's
Oh
got,
wow.
but I've read this a ton of times. Fell in love with all of this, man. Just reading these over and over again. And then this book, kind of like the Captain Marvel. It's just this story is just crazy. I got this one signed by Starling,
Oh
and
nice.
this is a great story. It's the 2-parter with Avengers Annual, I think 11 or 10. Where complete. Actually, this is the end of the story, the two issue story. But again, Starling and Thanos and or Thanos and Captain
Hmm.
Marvel and Avengers and the Thing and Spider-Man. Great stuff right here.
What's going on?
Love it. Love it. Um, okay, I could show books in a little while. I got
Okay,
more.
okay,
You could come back.
yeah, I'm
Go.
back. Okay, so that's that. No, those are all cool. So those are kind of like your childhood, like when you kind of got started into comics.
Yeah, and I wanted to get all those back. I can't. I think there's one more that, but it's a Treasury edition. I actually, it was a Defenders Treasury edition that I
Okay.
used to trace like crazy, but those are all reprints. So I didn't get that one because it's just hard to store and all that. So I got the original Defenders comics where the stories were at. So I'm okay. I don't need that,
Yeah, those
but
treasuries are really hard to keep. Like it's like I have like the original Star Wars
okay.
digest, the big one. That is, it's just so beaten up because it just got sort of
It's
tossed
an
into the
awkward, it's an awkward shape, man. It's an awkward
yeah.
size, right? Not the shape. It's an awkward size.
Yeah, well, you can't get bags and boards for it. Well, you can now, but at the
Yes,
time you couldn't. Yeah, and where do you put it? It's like you can't
exactly.
put it in a box. It
Do
just doesn't
you
work.
do you have books that you had when you were a kid that you went out to get? Did you do the same thing, the nostalgia part, or do you
I
still have
like so
books?
I have like a long box of my like kind of childhood books, which were all like Disney stuff, like Uncle Scrooge and all this kind of stuff. They're all beaten, like they're just beaten to death, right? Like they because I read them all.
We keep saying beaten, but they were loved, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
They
yeah.
were loved and
But
appreciated. That's what those books are, right?
yeah, yeah. But yeah, actually, it was funny. One of them turned out to be like a super rare book that's
Really?
worth, if it's in mint condition, it's worth thousands of dollars. Even in the beat up condition, it's worth a few hundred.
You remember what it was?
It was an Uncle Scrooge
Really?
that I had. Yeah. So what it was is because I'm in Canada, we would get like the 3 packs of
Okay.
comics, and we'd get those for Christmas. Like my parents would give me that for Christmas. And I guess this one comic only appeared in the 3 packs and only in Canada. So it's like ultra rare for that reason. But it was just yeah. So when I heard about it, like I was like, oh, I probably have that because I remembered the cover. And so I like dug through all these like beaten up books and the cover's all torn. But I have
It's
it.
it's very loved. It was very loved.
Yeah, yeah,
Did
yeah.
you
So,
put it in a bag? Did you take do some a little R&R for it? Try to nurse it back to.
I put it in a bag and board at least because like
Okay.
even like I for the longest time we had like next to our TV, like this is like going back in the day, right? We had like one of those big TVs, like I mean, yeah, like I'm talking about
It
the
was the
big
centerpiece.
massive ones.
With
It's
the
like
cabinet, with the whole
it's a
cabinet.
cabinet. It was a cabinet. It was like a big thing, and then beside it, you'd always put like your TV digests and stuff like
Right.
that, like little bin. Well, we would have with that, we'd have all the comics. So it was just like tossed in there, like not like properly stored or anything like that. So that's where all these comics were, and then just my parents kind of left it like that for years, because we had all gone off to university and school and stuff, and they basically one day they're always trying to get rid of the stuff that's in the house that's junk in their mind. They're like, oh, do you want these junky comics? And so they just brought like a bin. Here you go.
That's
So yeah,
that's
and then
that's
I properly sorted them out a bit.
that's
So,
awesome. I look at you. You're in Canada, and down here in the tip of Florida, and we
mhm.
had the same TVs, the big that they were like a console, and
Yeah,
it would be like a centerpiece, and we had the little bin for magazines and all that stuff right next to
yeah,
it.
yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah. It was the way it was. Those TVs they were like massive. They're heavy too. They're like people don't really appreciate the old TVs, and the picture quality was crap.
Yeah,
Picture quality was not the best.
and
It
some of them
was
didn't
like
have remotes,
flipping and stuff.
and some of them didn't have remotes. we
Yeah,
were the
no, no, no. We
yeah,
were the remote.
we were the remotes, the kids. Yeah.
Yeah, like I remember with my brother and sister, we'd all be sitting on like it was in like we had like a little kids TV room, playroom kind of thing,
Mhm.
and so this massive TV's there, and we'd all fight who has to go over and push the channel. But that was actually a good thing because like we were all too lazy. So like whatever channel you got, like we only had two channels, so
Right.
it wasn't really much of a selection. But
No.
whatever channel you got to choose, pretty much you know that you're going to stick with it. So you got
Yeah.
those. Yeah, it was a
It's
very
crazy.
different time.
It's crazy the amount of channels that we have now. It's like there's too many channels. Back
Well,
then it was
yeah,
like we had. I think we had five, if
yeah,
that, and if that, and everybody saw the same thing. Everybody the next day in school, we were
yeah.
talking about the
You all
same.
have, well, you know what really sucked for me? I lived kind of in the country. Like my hometown was like 200, almost 300 people. Like it was really small.
Wow.
And where my house was like there wasn't a block. It was like it wasn't there was no blocks. It was just like a
Row.
highway,
There
and
was a
then
row.
houses on either side of the
Wow.
highway. But my like two houses down had cable. My house was so all the kids are like, oh, did you watch blah blah blah, and I'm like, no, I didn't.
Until you got cable, right? Until you got cable, right?
I
Oh,
didn't. We never. We like cable came in after I was in university,
wow.
so I never had cable as a kid. Like I was like the loser kid, like that. And all
Wow.
the kids were talking about, oh, did you watch Transformers? Did you watch blah blah? And I'm
MTV,
like,
MTV, when MTV came, that was
oh yeah,
massive. Yeah.
yeah. So I
Video,
didn't get to.
video. Wow.
Yeah, I was like the loser kid that was like, yeah,
They
I
didn't
didn't see that.
they didn't let you come over?
Well, that's what I would do. That's how I'd see a lot of this stuff because I'd be so like like the conversation would just go over my head half the time because like
Yeah. You know what they were talking about.
yeah it was rough. It was rough times.
Have you gone back there? Do you have you ever gone back to your
Yeah, so my parents still own the house.
how much has it changed?
Uh it's smaller in my mind. Everything seems big when you're a kid.
Well, the neighborhood, has the neighborhood stayed the same or is there more
Oh
houses?
no, it's because of where I lived, it was kind of like it was a very poor town, like 20-30% unemployment,
Mhm.
like just really kind of like a not such a so
Right.
so if you're a kid there, what you do is you grow up and you leave.
Mm.
So the school that I went to at the time, it kind of it's closed down now,
Wow.
because they just couldn't get enough kids. Like there's just not enough people. So it's
What's the
it's kind of sad. It's
it
very
is that. What's the name of the town? What's it called?
it's called East Bay.
East Bay.
It's actually a very famous town, believe it or not. It's famous in a weird way. Um, so this is a little bit of history about me, but which I'm interviewing you, but I'm telling my history.
It's okay. I tend to
Um,
do this. I tend to switch it around sometimes.
so
It's okay,
yeah, but do you know Alexander Graham Bell, right?
of course.
The guy that invented the telephone and all that kind of stuff. Well, he actually spent most of his time in Cape Breton, which is where East Bay is, if that makes sense. Okay, so
Okay.
Cape Breton is the island, and then one of the little towns is East Bay.
Okay.
Well, he loves the island. He loved the island, and so his wife was the granddaughter of the one that created National Geographic. Okay, so he and his wife lived in Cape Breton, and they spent pretty much most of their time there. Okay, so when he did the first phone call, it was actually in Cape Breton.
Wow.
So it's like so, and because he has that connection to National Geographic, whenever they pick the most beautiful places in the world, they pick Cape Breton. Okay,
Nice.
and one of the most kind of picturesque areas is this. There's this church that's in East Bay, which always makes the cut kind of thing for like things to show because it's just it looks nice. It looks like it's a very picturesque little
Picturesque. Yeah.
yeah. So in that way it's famous. It's like in all these little photos from National Geographic.
And your parents still own the house?
And my parents still own the house. They bought it back in 1981. and I've been there ever since. But we moved around a lot before that. But yeah,
So they're actually still living in the house.
they still live in the house. They sort of they're snowbirds. They do in the winter. Nobody likes Canada in the winter. It
Mhm.
sucks here. So they fly. They go to Florida, right? They go to your area.
Okay, that's right. We've spoken about that. That's right.
Yeah, so I go down like once a year to Sarasota, and we kind of hang out there.
Awesome.
But
That's a good area.
yeah,
That's a nice area.
yeah,
That's on the
yeah,
West Coast.
yeah. So if you ever maybe in the one of these Christmases, I'll hang out with
We
you.
can work out. Maybe we could work it out. I got a lot of friends in that area, comic book friends
Yeah,
that are
yeah,
into that. There's a
yeah.
big community.
There's a little group, and they're all on YouTube. Actually, I always see them like
Yeah.
what's his name? The Cantonese kid and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
the boat
And
ride.
Puffy, I think
Puff's in
is also
Orlando. Puff's in Orlando, but he goes
okay.
there a lot. It's
Okay,
all in the
remember,
it's all right there in the
it's all
middle.
in that strip. That's all in the strip. So that I consider you guys all in the same area. It's a small little.
Except I'm 3 hours down further.
I know
down.
you're way down south.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm way down at the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah. But it's an interesting thing. So before we bore the people that are watching with like talking about childhood crap and like all this kind of stuff.
TVs, large TVs. Yeah, we're talking about
large TVs and stuff like
Alexander
that.
Graham Bell.
Yeah, a little history there. How about we show some more comics?
Okay.
Show some of the.
All right. So you show a ton. Your collection's amazing as far as all your golden age stuff, your good girl art and all that. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna show modern stuff. Since it's maybe
that's fine.
That gets shown too much. I know you've got modern too. I understand that.
Yeah. No, it's all about showing what you love. Like that's what this is all about. Like I want to experience what other people love. And,
I got a couple of books that I love.
Okay.
This one's back when I first started collecting too, but a little later, and I just kind of like this is my second favorite cover of all time, and it's X-Men 140.
Oh, nice.
It's a John Byrne cover, and
do you like the Wendigo as a character? Or
I like him as a character. I just love this freaking cover, man. I just think there's so much going on. He's pretty much done.
He's throwing Wolverine in the background and like
destroyed the other ones, and then there's a lady with a baby. It's a really good story too, man. He fights Wolverine, and it's a really good freaking story with a big fight. Because when we were kids, it was like, oh my god, there's no fights in this book. There's nobody fights. That was like a big thing. If the comic book had no fights, it sucked.
Yeah.
So
that we needed that action, right? We wanted that.
You needed the action. You needed the action. So now I'm going to show you some modern books, mostly modern, that I just pulled out that are some of my favorite books. This is House of X #2. This is from Jonathan Hickman. This is
nice cover.
Yeah, this came out a few years ago with this whole run on X-Men. I think I'm not even sure. I stopped reading it, but this cover. I mean, not this cover. This issue is such a fantastic issue. The story is, when I read it, I was in love again. I felt like I was 10 years old reading a comic book because it was so freaking good. When this
you don't hear that much about modern comics, so that's a good sign there.
This is such a good story.
So who is the writer? Who is the writer?
Jonathan Hickman.
Hickman. Okay, yeah, I've heard good things about him.
Yeah, I got a couple of more stuff on him. Okay. Let me bring these up. Here. So this one's another Starling book that I had the whole run. I don't have it anymore. Not sure what happened to it, but I needed to get a 9/8 #1 in it, and that's Dreadstar. I don't know if you've ever read this.
Yeah, I've heard. I have it actually. Yeah,
this is so good, man. I love this. I think I was like probably a teenager when this was coming out, and I fell in love with this book, this character.
He created the character. He wrote the story too, right? For that one?
He did the whole thing. He created, he drew, he wrote it. It's really good. It's really good.
I heard that they're thinking of bringing that character back.
Yes, I think there's a Kickstarter or something going on. Haven't seen it. Haven't gotten it. All right. Here I got 5 slabs. They're all the same book, different printings. Um, this is another story that came out a couple of years ago, right before COVID, I think. Well, you know what? I'll tell you. It came out in 2017, so a little bit further back. And
Okay.
and I got this, and every month I was at the comic book shop waiting. This is like when I first got back into comics, so it was really cool because I fell in love
Mhm.
with this story, and it's God Country.
Oh, okay, that's an interesting choice.
This is so good. This is such a great story. I think there's only 6 issues. Um,
Hmm.
it deals with Alzheimer's and
Okay.
dementia, and I was going through that with my mom at the time, so it made it that more special. Um, and I just fell in love with this book. I'll show them real quick because I'm only missing one variant. I think one variant in a
Nice.
9.8.
I have the first one that you showed. Like,
The first one. So I got
yeah,
all the printings because I one of my favorite stories. Period.
I'll have to read it. I actually haven't read it, so
Oh my
I
god!
feel
Buy the trade, man. It's a great read. It's really
I
good.
always just read it online. I'm weird that way.
That works. That works. Okay, let me see what I got here.
But they're making a TV series about it.
They've been saying that for a few years, man. I hope it happens. I
Hmm.
hope it happens. I think Donny Cates, I've seen on some YouTube channels that he's going through some personal stuff. So, and I think he was attached to it. So
Hmm.
hopefully that doesn't, he gets back and that happens, man. Because it's a fantastic story.
I mean, he's one of the good writers of this era. I would say.
Man, I tend to like everything he writes pretty much. There's a few things that I wasn't crazy about, but they weren't terrible. You know,
Like I read his Venom run. Like he did some stuff with Venom,
that,
right?
that was very
The
good. That was very good. I didn't like the Hulk one that he just finished. It was okay.
hmm.
Um, but pretty much everything else I liked. Even he did a lot of indie stuff like Baby Teeth.
Oh
Um,
yes, yes, yes.
and then there was the one with the vampires. Oh my god, I can't remember.
Uh, isn't it just called Vampire or something Teeth? Isn't it
Well,
Bloodstained
Baby
Teeth?
Teeth was the little kid that was a devil, the baby that was a devil, and the mother had to. That was a yeah that story. No, it's I can't remember. There's a vampire book that he wrote. I can't remember it. But
Hmm.
I read that too. Okay, these books are just favorite covers of mine, and they're actually stories too as well. I saw this. This is Department of Truth number 4. It's like a 1 in 25 variant, and I
Oh
just had
wow!
I had to have this when I saw it because it's
Wow, that is really cool. I
yeah
actually really like that.
it's like written on a kid at school. You know how we
Yeah,
used to
yeah.
school, and
There's a movie that kind of reminds me of like where the kid is drawing a monster and
oh
it becomes.
the Babadook, was it that one?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. That's another movie. That's a really good movie too.
That's a really good one. But
Yeah, that
I
actually reminds me of that too because that looks like Babadook or whatever its
Babadook,
name is.
Babadook. So I fell in
Yeah.
love with that, man. I had to get that when I saw. I actually submitted that one. I was super happy when it came back at 9.8. Of course,
Oh, I
Walking
have that
Dead,
too. That's a great cover.
such a good cover, man. Freaking uh,
Uh, I like
fantastic.
those black exploitation movies. They're so
Yes,
great. They're so fun.
yes, man. And this cover just captures it, man. It's so good. I love it.
Yeah.
Um,
Jackie Brown.
Jackie Brown, yes. This is another one that I've
Oh
seen
yeah,
this a
I
ton of
have that
times.
one too. Yeah, that's a
Freaking love
great
it.
cover. Those
It's
men's magazines.
it's a homage to Men's Magazine, like from 1950s and stuff. It's so good,
Yeah,
bro. But the
yeah.
pandas with knives and stuff. It's
Oh
so
yeah, it's just so funny. And the other ones with the koalas, right? So it's just
yes, I have that. I have that one as well. That one came out recently. I have that one somewhere. Okay, you know what? Let me show this one here. This is another Donny Cates, and that's the when he did his Thanos run.
oh yes. And I think that's the first appearance of like something
We got
Ghost Rider,
Cosmic,
Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Cosmic Ghost Rider,
Yeah.
and I just had to get this. Such a badass cover. It's just a great, 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 great story.
Mm.
Um, this was actually an AOK from my friend Unruly. Um, this is my favorite all-time series. I'm a big X-Men guy. I love a lot of things, but this to me is the best series I've ever read, and it's Jonathan Hickman, and it's East
Oh
of.
yes, I've heard about that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is so good. The art is amazing. It's different, and the story is, man, it's fantastic. I highly, 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 highly recommend reading that. Um, and I got two books left, and this one's Saga number one.
Oh,
Another.
Saga is really good. I really enjoyed Saga.
This is excellent read, man. It's a must read for everyone. It's so good. Um, I have to. I'm waiting for the for because it's coming out now, but I like to read that like in the collected. I don't like the single issues. And the
Yeah,
last,
I haven't kept up with my Saga reading. I got up to the part where they were in the kind of these trees that they could grow into spaceships. You know,
also
and they
you haven't read a whole lot then, right? I think
no, I'd
that's.
say maybe the first like 10 to
Oh,
20 issues, somewhere around there. Yeah.
gotta go back to it, man. That series is really good. It's freaky, bro.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
stuff that they do in that.
Yeah, I have the complete collection. I haven't got, I get busy. So I
I
don't get to read everything.
we all get busy. I get it. I'm behind. Every collector is super behind on their reading. Okay, so that's nothing
Yeah,
new,
yeah.
right? And the last book I have to show today is this is the only book that I'm not a big signature person, guy,
Hmm.
collector. But this is actually the only one that I had witnessed by CDC at a con, and she signed it, and I was holding my breath, making sure, hoping it would come back at 9.8, and I was super nervous when I met her. But it's Jolie Jones, and it's
Oh, okay.
Lady Killer number one,
Oh, wow. That's a
and
great book too.
it's a great story, man. It's so good,
Hmm.
and
Yeah, no,
um, I believe there's rumors that this is going to get made too, but who knows? And I
I
like
heard
her
that too.
signature.
Yeah.
I like the
Yeah.
signature because it really doesn't take away from it. You know, it's right
Well,
there.
it's funny. It kind of works with the whole splash, the
It does, right?
hmm
It's not
yeah,
bad at all. So
yeah, nice.
that's those are all special books to me. They're moderns, but I like most of the story. I like all those stories. I've read all the Walking Dead, Department of Truth. I've read
Hmm.
God Country. Those are all books that I wanted the number ones and 9.8s because I love the stories. I love
Yeah,
the.
yeah. I can agree. Those are all good. Those are all good choices. Like if I was going to say, oh, what were some good modern books? Those would all be on the list. So
I hope to. I've read East of West twice. I'll probably read it again when I'm done reading, catching up with my other stuff because I got a few omnibuses. That's how I'm reading now, and
hmm
those take a while to read.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
These people that have a room full of omnibuses, they cannot possibly have read all those omnibuses, man. Maybe a couple, maybe I'll give them 5, maybe 10, but those things take. I'm reading a Daredevil one, and it's taken me forever because life is busy. It takes me
Yeah, yeah,
forever.
yeah.
I try to sit down. I'll read 2 issues, put it back. I won't pick it up again in for 2 or 3 weeks. It's just the way it is sometimes.
Well,
But
yeah. What I do is I read stuff online,
mhm.
but what I'll do is binge read. So what I'll do is like for example, like Fantastic Four. I'll read I read the first 20 issues, and
And once,
then in one sitting, I'll just boom, go through them all,
bro, you're
and
a
then
better
I'll.
guy, man.
But
I read one, and I'm already falling asleep.
oh no, so yeah, so that's how I do it. But then I get distracted, and then I might not read anything for like whatever length of time because I have so much work that I do. It's like I'm
Yeah,
a pretty busy dude.
we got real
Um,
lives, man. We got real lives.
yeah, yeah. Well, I have to work hard to pay for all this stuff. That's the thing.
Yes.
What always happens. So yeah, so those are actually really good. It's interesting because like I do collect the modern stuff.
Hmm.
And it's interesting when people bring that because what always happens when I do these interviews, people always bring, oh, I got my Hulk 181. I got my, it's like, well, I've seen that like 20 times. I
Yeah.
like when people bring stuff that they actually love. And, that's
I
so,
do love my Hulk 181 too,
yeah,
though.
yeah, yeah. I'm not putting that book down too much. I'm not putting it down too much.
I just wanted
Even
to
though
show.
Hulk 1,
I just wanted to show other stuff because we've seen a million 181s. It's
yeah,
true.
yeah, yeah, but you showed great stuff.
Thank you.
Like there, like I know that people always are down on the modern stuff, and I'm actually one of those people that's usually down on the modern stuff, like
Right.
like trashing it. But there are some good stuff. Um, Actually, this weekend I'm going to be meeting with Chip Zdarsky,
Oh wow.
and I'm going to bring like I got a bunch of Sex Criminal that run. That's a
I,
really fun
that
read.
I've read like the first two trades, so I've read the first 10. Great, it's really good.
It's really funny. It's yes. So I that I'm going to bring to him, and it's just like it's kind of cool, like to get to
It's a cool way to stop time, right?
yeah, very cool way.
Very fun way to stop time.
Yeah, if I had an option of how to stop time, that'd be my way of doing it.
The number one way to do it.
So just a really cool guy to be meeting, and yeah, it's like there are books that are being made that are still good. Is my point that, and even as a golden age collector, I can say that there's still some modern books that are worth checking out.
Okay. Look, I haven't read Golden Age, so I can't speak for that. But
Mm-hmm.
I've read a ton of Marvel, Bronze Age. It's not all good, man. Some of it
No, yeah,
sucks.
yeah, even back then, yeah,
A lot of it sucks. I'm reading, like I said, I'm reading a Daredevil Omni. It's the Frank Miller run. I think it started in 158 to like
mm-hmm.
196, 190, somewhere in the one. So it collects those. And I read that when I was a kid because I used to have a lot of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're not all good issues, man. The art's not always good. Some of it is like, man, this isn't as good as we think it
You
is.
remember it, yeah.
Yeah, when we were, but that you're looking at, I read it when I was 12, 13, 14. I've changed a bit. You pick up
Mm-hmm.
new things. It's not all the best stuff. Not every issue is great. In
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned why did they Captain Marvel was a female? That's not the best run. Captain
Well,
the
yeah,
Miss
and
Marvel.
that run died as a result because, like,
Exactly. So everything now, people that shit on the modern, you don't know what you're talking about. You're just being. There's a
well, you
lot of
just
good
have to
stuff,
look. The thing is, you just have to look. There's stuff being created still,
of
and
course.
that's why I'm actually very excited about Kickstarter. Because there's like creators doing what they want to do, and they
Right.
just make the great books. I actually try to back as many of those as possible because I think they're just a
Awesome.
really great way of creators creating stuff.
Yeah, that's
Um,
great.
so I always ask this: what books are you chasing now? What would be your grail, or what books do you kind of want to add to your collection?
Oh, yeah, there's a few. I just added the first Miss Carol Danvers. I got it over here. I just got that
Oh,
last
okay,
week. I just got Daredevil 7, where it's his first red costume. I just got
okay,
those last week. I guess the biggest book I'm looking for, and right now is probably not the best time, is House of Secrets 92. Um,
yeah. If you had sort of said that maybe 3-4 months ago,
and I
it
was looking at that time, and I had my eye on one, and I didn't jump to get
it
it.
sort of picked up again after
Yeah, the
yeah,
announcement, right? So
James Gunn James
I'm
Gunn
in no
effect.
rush. I'm in no rush. There's a couple of DC books that I'm looking for. As far as Marvel, um, man, as far as Marvel, there's not too many left. I just come across. Hey, man, that's a cool book. I didn't think about that. I'll get that now. But as far as Marvel, man, I've gotten most of the books that I want. There's
Do you ever
always
go for the big books like the AF-15 or like
it doesn't
those?
interest me. The only book of those that interests me, one, I don't want to pay that much for a comic.
Okay.
I want to stay. I don't want to go that crazy. Like the one book is actually right behind you. The
Oh,
one
which one?
book I don't want it. I don't want it because it's like I don't want to have that my grail.
Hmm.
You understand? It's like it's better that I don't have it. It's always something
So you have something to look forward to and chase.
aspire to if I ever want to. Hey, maybe the time will come and man, let me sell a lot of these and get that
Mhm.
one. I don't see me doing that either. But it's the Hulk one. I think that's a fantastic book. I'm not.
Yeah, I was very excited to get it just because it's a rare book, it's not like some of the other ones. It's
It's
pretty
not,
hard to find.
and it's a beautiful classic cover.
Hmm.
I just
Yeah,
I love that book, man.
yeah,
That's my grail, but I don't want to get it. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it
yeah.
does.
You know, I get it.
It
I
does
get
to
it.
me. It does to me. You know.
Yeah, I actually grew up like a lot of the stuff that I buy really gets influenced by the TV shows that I enjoy or the movies that I enjoy. And I grew up watching, Lou Ferrigno doing the Hulk, and I like the fact that he didn't have to wear makeup. Like he wore it like
Right.
green, but he didn't have to like CGI or anything. It's just
Every
it's all.
Friday, man. Every Friday. I think it was at here. I think it was on Fridays at 9, and we
Mhm.
or it was either because it was Dukes of Hazards at 8. Then
I
it
love
was
Dukes of Hazzard too,
I
by the
loved
way.
it too. It was Dukes of Hazards. Then at 9 o'clock it was the Hulk, and then after that it was Falcon Crest, and I had no interest in that. So
I watched that a few
I
times,
didn't want. I know that was it. No, I can't. I
but
think I was.
I didn't really like it. It wasn't my
Yeah,
thing either.
it wasn't for me. But
Mhm.
yeah, that TV show is, and it wasn't just Lou Ferrigno, man. Bill Bixby was amazing, man, and
Yeah, no, he was good. He was good. He was good.
the music. Oh my God, that was the saddest music, and you would see him walking at the end. It was like, oh man,
Yeah, you don't want to get me angry. Yeah.
yeah, man. You felt for him. You felt for him,
Yeah,
man. It was so good. It was so
yeah,
good.
I really enjoyed that show. So yeah, so it was really great hanging out with you. Where can people check you out, and what are you up to?
Oh, okay, as we were talking before, I have my channel. I just hit 700 subs. I don't know how because
Congrats.
I used to have I have a lot of content on there, but I just stopped making videos, man. I like being on other people's shows for a while. I don't like to have that
Mhm.
pressure. I don't want this to feel like work, and I felt like I was on every day. I was doing videos.
Yeah,
I was
that's
doing
me.
it, and I kind of got burnt out, and it stopped being fun. I
Mhm.
think I got tired of hearing myself talk too.
Yeah,
I
it
think,
can be hard. I gotta give you that. Yeah.
yeah, and I don't know. I just kind of lost I lost the passion to do. I used to do interviews as well. I got a ton of those on my channel. So if anybody wants to check those out, I used to do every Wednesday night we would do an interview. It was me and my buddy Javi, and we would
Mhm.
interview different members of the community, man. And it was a lot of fun. I got a lot. Every time I would end the show, I'd be, man, that was great. What a great interview.
That's why I love doing these interviews.
It's
Like
fun. It's fun. I
it's
gotta tell you,
interesting.
the other day we were on with Biggie, and we had that off air that we talked for about an hour with Rob.
Yeah,
That was great. It was
yeah,
great. I was almost like, man, I maybe I want to do this again.
yeah.
Because
No, it's fun.
that's how it felt. But I don't know if I'm there yet. I don't want to get into the
Mhm.
grind of having to do that.
Yeah.
So maybe I will. But I definitely like showing up on other channels and talking and
Mhm.
comics and talking baloney and being a fool. I'm
Yeah,
always down
yeah.
for that. It's always fun. It is always fun. This is like going to the bar with your friends. Except we stay home and we hang out with our friends. This is
And we
our
talk
bar.
about stupid things
This
like
is our cheers. This is our cheers, right? Where everybody knows your name. I'm Hialeah, your comic collector geek. Alan, I'm
Mhm.
Raul, and this is our
Mhm.
cheers, basically.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's cool. Like, that's one good thing about YouTube and all this kind of community stuff. I love the fact that we can get together with a bunch of people that have the same lame interest as we do, right? like finding people that have the same kind of like very geeky hobby is it's really cool. It's always
It's it's the best. I think that's the main reason I started doing YouTube because first I wanted to share my collection, show it off, do whatever. It's just showing what I
fun.
would get every week,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and it's just turned into, man. I know people. I tell my wife, I tell my friends, I know people all over I know people in New Zealand. I know people in Canada that I
Yeah,
talk to.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
people all over the states. Hey, we're gonna go here. Hey, I know somebody in that town. Maybe I could hit them up.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Well,
It's great. It's great. I never. My wife tells me you got a lot of friends, and I'm like, man,
yeah.
I never had this many friends, and it's great.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, me too. So, it's funny. Like, I went to Sweden,
Wow,
like just like my wife has a tendency of planning really random trips
that's a
based on
great trip,
movies.
man. I would love to.
She'll watch a movie where somebody gets killed or somebody gets mangled,
And
and she'll
that's
be
where she
like,
wants to go.
that's
That's
where
where
we're
she wants
going.
to go.
So she saw this movie about like Swedish killers. So so we went to Sweden. I don't know why. Like, she's trying to kill us off or something. I don't know what she's doing. But so we went to Sweden. While I was in Sweden, they had this like kind of flea market, like a national. It was like a book day or something. It was like, and it was like a huge flea market. They were selling comics. So I was like buying comics, and somebody recognized me.
What?
In Sweden? I'm like, so they messaged me and like they said, oh, I was too shy to go up to you, but I saw you at such and such a square in Sweden. I thought, wow, that's really strange.
Wow.
And so I was like, what the?
Did you tell your wife? What did your wife say?
Oh, so she really doesn't like the comics, to tell you the truth. She's like very anti-comics. But when she hears that there's that element of coolness, like where you're like a bit of a celebrity, she kind of gives it a little bit more respect. So for about a few days, I got a little bit more respect. It was pretty cool.
Nice.
it's so weird though.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's never happened to me. I get recognized sometimes when somebody sees me maybe at a con and we're all there together, and the hat.
Yeah.
I don't,
with the hat, it's kind of like
with the hat, it's a little easier.
So, the hat is like your secret, like your opposite of secret identity. It's like,
Yeah, like you can't recognize me now.
Oh, who are you? I don't know who you are. Oh, it's Hialeah.
You want me to tell you a story about the hat?
Okay, sure.
This was from my 30th school reunion, and it was on a boat, and it was a black and white, and I was like, man, this is kind of boring. I was gonna go all in black. And I gotta spruce it up. So I went to Lids and I had the hat made. It was the hit. Everybody wanted my hat that day. And when I created the channel, I go, I got it. I'm good.
Yeah, you got it. You got the prop. You got the whole thing. That's cool.
It worked. Yeah. So it's been with me ever since.
That was very cool.
That was 25 years ago, that reunion.
Wow.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, time passes, eh?
I'm kidding. It's only been 5. Years.
Okay. I was thinking maybe, like first year or something like that. I was like, I was giving you a bit of benefit of doubt.
No, because I it was the 30th reunion.
30th. Oh, 30. Okay. Yeah. So actually, yeah, high school reunions I could go down a whole rabbit hole of that and talk about that, but yeah. But I better let people go before we go way off topic and start talking about random stuff. Thank you for coming on to the show. We'll have to do this again. And I will put all the links to your Instagram and to your YouTube channel in the description. So people go check him out. Sub his channel. He doesn't put out much content, so you're not going to get many notifications. But when he does put out something, it's actually quite good. So thanks again, and bye for now.
Peace.